Picture this. It's 1922. We're deep in the blistering hot sands of Egypt, and a British team led by Howard Carter has just unearthed something that is literally about to shock the entire world. What they found down there wasn't just ancient history, it was a monumental mystery, one that absolutely still captures our imaginations today. So, in this deep dive, we're going to look really closely at the facts, the hard evidence, and the massive legends surrounding this unprecedented archaeological triumph. But before we get to the glittering gold and all the modern scientific investigations, we have to start with a dark, eternal promise. You see, inside many Egyptian tombs, ancient writings were left behind as a terrifying warning to anyone who dared trespass. The message reads, quite simply and chillingly, "Death shall come on swift wings to him who disturbs the peace of the king." I mean, just imagine standing in the dim light of a sealed, ancient corridor. You're blowing away the dust of literal millennia, only to find that ominous threat staring right back at you. Okay, let's dive into this and look at the central figure of our mystery. Who exactly was this king whose peace was being disturbed? Well, the answer is Tutankhamun. He wasn't some seasoned, battle-hardened warrior. He was actually an ancient Egyptian boy king. And the true, absolute magnitude of this discovery, it lies in the fact that his tomb was found completely untouched. It had just rested there, hidden away in the Valley of the Kings, entirely undisturbed by grave robbers. Yet, adding to the immense intrigue of it all, this young pharaoh died mysteriously at just 19 years old. Think about that. A teenager, ruling an empire, buried in an untouched chamber, and seemingly protected by an ancient curse. But the triumph of that incredible discovery, it was incredibly short-lived. In 1922, the tomb was officially unsealed, and the very moment they opened that ancient door, a terrifying sequence of events was set into motion. Mere weeks later, Lord Carnarvon, the enormously wealthy man who bankrolled the entire expedition, fell ill and died from a sudden, completely unexplained infection. And the tragedy didn't stop with him. No, in the years that followed, one by one, other members of the expedition team began dying under some extremely strange circumstances. Now, as you can probably imagine, a wealthy British lord dying just weeks after opening an ancient, supposedly cursed tomb is exactly the kind of story that catches the world's attention. I mean, the media went wild, newspapers across Europe and America absolutely seized on Lord Carnarvon's sudden death. The headlines screamed about the curse of the pharaohs, fueling absolute public hysteria. It spread like wildfire. The media frenzy took a historical archaeological dig and basically transformed it into a global supernatural thriller. A curse was officially born in the public imagination, completely overshadowing the very real, hard-earned scientific achievements of the expedition. And this brilliantly illustrates why the media was so captivated, because the deaths weren't just numerous. They were deeply unsettling and, honestly, bizarre. Team members started dying in completely unexplainable ways. We're talking about sudden heart failure, debilitating strokes, unexplained sicknesses that seemed to come out of absolutely nowhere. It wasn't just one type of contagious illness spreading through the camp. Instead, it was a chilling variety of deadly afflictions taking out the team members, one by one, shortly after the tomb was opened. Although, interestingly enough, actually, a bit of a plot twist here, Howard Carter himself, the guy who actually unsealed the tomb, lived for another 17 years, completely untouched by the so-called curse. 20. Let that number sink in for a second. To this day, more than 20 people connected to the discovery died unnatural deaths. This isn't just a spooky anecdote about one or two unlucky explorers getting sick out in the desert. This is an astonishing figure that really anchors this spooky narrative in hard, undeniable reality. Over 20 individuals, all linked to the unsealing of Tutankhamun's resting place, meeting unnatural ends. It really forces us to ask, at what point does a string of bad luck become something entirely different? But as fascinating as the curse theory is, we need to look at the hard facts. Let's put the ghost stories on hold for a second. When modern scientists finally had the technology and the opportunity to properly examine Tutankhamun's body centuries later, they were looking for logical, tangible answers to the mystery surrounding his life, his very early death, and his tomb. So what happens when we move from myth to modern science? Well, it turns out what the researchers found was just as shocking as the curse itself. So, the crucial point is, modern science leaves us with two prevailing, yet radically different theories regarding the tomb and the young king. On one hand, we have the theory of violent murder. When scientists examined Tutankhamun, they found strange broken bones. We're talking specifically about damage to the skull fragments and mysterious fractures. This is strong evidence suggesting a brutal, violent end. It points to the very real possibility that the 19-year-old boy king was assassinated. On the other hand, though, we have the theory of biological defense. And this theory addresses the curse directly, implying that ancient Egyptians possessed early knowledge of biological warfare. They might have deliberately laced the tomb with deadly pathogens, like toxic mold spores such as aspergillus, basically creating a biological weapon that would literally infect anyone who dared to open the sealed chamber. Which brings us to our final, lingering question. Was it coincidence or ancient knowledge? I mean, weigh those 20 unnatural deaths against modern science for a moment. Was Lord Carnarvon's sudden illness and the mysterious deaths of all those other team members simply a massive tragic alignment of fate? Or did the ancient Egyptians actually engineer a terrifying defense, whether it was psychological or fiercely biological, that we still don't fully comprehend today? It's a mystery that remains sealed in the sands of time, challenging our entire modern understanding of the ancient world. Thanks for diving into the evidence with me today. Keep questioning the past, and I'll catch you next time.